Good afternoon, friends. Today, it is 1 year and 15 days since the horrendous Pahalgam massacre. And as my friend Rajiv alluded, exactly 1 year since our first weapons hit the target. The Pahalgam incident in itself is an incident for which no amount of condemnation and no amount of repudiation will ever be enough. We cannot bring back our fellow countrymen who were massacred in cold blood on the 22nd of April 2025. But we can certainly resolve to ensure that such incidents are not repeated. Operation Sindoor, which remains paused, is an effort towards that resolve. Since times immemorial, we have lived with a simple philosophy of live and let live. But when our desire for peace is mistaken for weakness and our silence is taken as absence, there is no choice but to act. And when we act, there are no half measures. It is decisive, it is lethal, and it translates into Operation Sindoor. A decisive yet calibrated response targeting the perpetrators and their backers. As Rajiv has alluded, going into this operation, our higher directions were very, very clear. The objective was clear, and the forces were given full operational freedom. Jointness was built into this operation from conceptualization to execution. The COSC, which comprises of the CDS and the 3 service chiefs, deliberated every option and calibrated every decision. Thus, with an absolute clarity of action, a successful joint operation was launched to destroy the terror infrastructure in POJK as well as in Pakistan itself. And when that first weapon hit the target on the early morning of 7th May 2025, that decisive flash, ladies and gentlemen, was the strength and the resolve of the people of India being projected into the enemy heartland. It was partial justice being served to the families of the victims of that horrendous massacre in Pahalgam and many such incidents before that. Going into these operations, I remember focus into details of planning. The 3 of us met almost daily and on more than one occasions. Our aim was not just to hit. It had to be lethal, it had to be precise, avoiding collateral. Hence, selection of targets, timing, weapons to be used, everything needed to be carefully considered. And once that was done, execution was achieved with clockwork precision. A question which comes up time and again is, why did we agree to stop? I fully understand the angst of our people, especially the younger generation, given our experience with Pakistan. But allow me to clarify here. Our fight was with the terrorists and their support infrastructure, and that is what we hit, ensuring no collateral damage. We had achieved our objectives and our mission was complete. But when Pakistani establishment decided to side with terror and make it their own fight, we had no choice but to respond in kind. It was about self-defense, much beyond a counter-terror operation. When we responded, it was lethal and ruthless. And after taking the beating, sense kicked in the adversary, and they asked for cessation of hostilities. We paused when the request came, we stepped back, but we didn't blink. We had delivered the message, and the message was very clear. That is, misadventure will not go unanswered. Acts of terror will carry consequences. A lot of time this question comes up over the past 1 year. What are the lessons? Well, in the defense forces, we are continuously evaluating our options and drawing our lessons through exercises, training, and simulation. But of course, there is no better training ground than an actual operation itself. So we have also internalized what we encountered and taken them into our planning consideration. Some of them I can share with you. First, Operation Sindoor reaffirmed the primacy of air power. And when I say air power, it means everything that is in the air and not only Air Force. As the first responder and the dimension of choice for any nation. Second, it reasserted the salience of jointness and a whole-of-nation approach. It vindicated Indian Air Force's focus on precision targeting and net-centric warfare, with ICCS emerging as a clear enabler. Next, we are also able to see through our adversary. We now have first-hand confirmation of their capabilities, capacities, and tactics they intended to hide. So I'm sure there are a very lot across there. A crucial lesson: nations forced into conflict must always have conflict termination criteria and strategy in sight. Otherwise, very soon you can go astray and do not realize how to terminate that conflict. Of course, we need to invest more in certain capabilities like space, unmanned systems, cyber. Some of these capabilities have already been addressed in the past 1 year, and we fully realize that Atmanirbharta, as my friend Rajiv alluded, is the way forward. So Indian Air Force relies heavily on indigenous technologies, and several measures are being taken to enhance partnership with defense PSUs and private industry. IF is an active participant of Mission Sudarshan Chakra, and we are working to build on the success of ICCS to provide this crucial capability to our country. Looking ahead, we continue the vigil, and IF will continue to be the first responder whenever our peace and tranquility is challenged, whenever our sovereignty is threatened. There is no distance too far, no depth too great, and no dimension we cannot dominate. At this instant, we are watching and could not be better prepared. Thank you. Jai Hind.